getting the pickup list for my journey
number
home.
2 boss, right?
from the boss. That's right. Okay, my name is Norm Barker from Studio 92, and it's NORMBARKER.
Tell me how did you get started, Norm? How did you get started in a recording studio?
Okay, I was a drummer and actually had an interest in recording and doing recording, and I started out bought myself a 4-track and started fooling around with that, and I started getting more and more equipment that I thought I could do a better job with, and I started to write songs too, record my own songs, and I don't know, one day I woke up and thought, gee, I got a lot of equipment here now. I wonder if anybody else would like to use this. So I put a little ad in the paper and started getting phone calls, and from there it just grew and grew and grew, and here I am.
Can you tell me a little bit about the format of your studio, or what kind of service you'd be offering?
Well, this is a 16-track or a 24-track studio, and basically what I do is I record bands. It's really my thing, or individuals that like to sing, and I have sort of everything here I need to do a good job doing that, you know.
Okay, maybe you can show us some of the tools of your trade. Maybe take it out for a test spin, so to speak.
Sure. Well, this is the mixing board, and it's fairly new, and it's big enough to handle the 24-track and the 16-track, and there's compressors up here and reverbs and all kinds of gear over there for effects and everything. And
now I noticed you got a lot of analog gear here, and is that a preference? Because I know the world is going digital, but there is still a need for analog. Maybe you can get into a little bit about that.
Yeah, I really love analog, and I guess maybe because I grew up with it myself. But I've compared, the two mediums. I've rented digital machines, and still nothing really quite sounds the same to me as my analog machines. And I've noticed they even build machines now you can run your digital through it to try and get that analog sound, and I really can't really see the benefit of doing that. I'd rather just stay analog.
You got a bit of a wall of fame here.
Yeah, it's a lot of history here. These are some of the bands I've worked with. Not everybody has a poster, but I'm always glad to put one up, if they bring it in, and it's fun for me to look back on it too over the years. You sort of got your heavy metal bands and your Celtic bands, and from your heavy metal from era maybe 10 years ago when it was like the thing, and it's still going on, but I do all kinds of music here, like country, Celtic, and rock, heavy rock, and it's actually, I really appreciate that because it sort of keeps me sane. I think if I had to record the same kind of music day in and day out, it might get a little boring.
Is there any techniques that you might use, let's say, for a heavy metal band as opposed to a Celtic band, or is it basically the same school of thought, or maybe you can do something on that?
I think really the basic philosophy is to capture what they have and enhance it, maybe only to the point where it is enhanced and not changing who they are and what they are. Like most people want to record, I think, and get a realistic picture of who they are. And there's no point making some rock band sound just like some other rock band.
Do you see yourself as a producer or an engineer, or how do you fit in the thing?
Well, I'm definitely an engineer, and I consider myself, I'd have to say, for the most part, a co-producer. I'm usually working with the bands who have a pretty good idea of what they want. Then it's my job to get it for them. Now, maybe that's a producer's role, but I don't know. I don't really feel that I should take full credit for something most of the time. Sometimes I actually do fully produce something, and that's a real joy. But bottom line is it's a group effort, so you have to have a good rapport with who you're working for, and do your best to get what they want. So,
okay, you tell me where we are, and
all right.
Yeah.
Well, now we're in the live room, or the recording room. This is where the bands actually play, and it's a large space, which of course is a great thing. And when the bands are playing, they play together. Like the band will play as a unit, almost as they do live, for the most part. And they all have their separate headphone mixes, so they can hear what they want to hear in their headphones when they're playing. And that's about it. There's isolation booths, and
Is it a big engineering feat, or is it more art than science to get something that's a room that sounds good or doesn't sound good? Is it a luck of the draw, or is there?
well, this room, I was lucky. Like before I moved into this space, this building was owned by a recording company, and they actually had this room built like by professionals, and spent a fortune on it. Like it's floating concrete floors, and like this room's not really physically attached to another room. It's very much isolated. So it was built so that I guess back in 15 years ago, Metallica could record in one room, and Anne Murray could be in this room, and they could go on simultaneously.
So sound isolated then?
It's very isolated, and this room is well, not totally dead, but well, it is rather dead. Let's edit that.
Okay.
Okay, but well, this room was just constructed for really great recordings, and with a hardwood floor, and
here's a question for you. If a young band that's coming up that hasn't really been in the studio, and is there any advice that you can give them to what to look for for a studio, and perhaps with a lot of the cheap multi-track gear that's out there? What advice can you get? Should you go out and rent your gear, or should you go out and have a professional do it?
Well, actually, I'm going to say a professional should probably do your recording. You can definitely rent yourself a 4-8 track and get ideas at home, I think, but to have a really presentable product, I would go somewhere that you're going to go home with something that you're very proud of. And it doesn't have to cost a lot of money to go to a studio, and it can be done quickly or tediously too. Like, sort of find a studio that will work with your budget and do the best job they can, with your budget. So, there's lots of good home recording gear out there, but it's not going to sound the same as if, you've come to a guy who's been doing it for a long time, and if you rent your own gear and take it home, you're going to spend a lot of time figuring out how to get good sounds and do a good job, and really your job is to play and perform well. So.
Okay, we got some vintage stuff here.
Yeah, that's right, we do. This is a JH24 track recording machine, and it's probably 15 years old or so, and but it sounds amazing in my estimation, and it's still considered to be one of the best machines.
Can you still get tape for that?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Oh, really, eh?
Oh, for sure, no problem. Yeah. Okay, so the effects rack, for the most part, is over here, and I've got it scattered over here and over here too, to my right. It kind of surrounds me so I can work with it while I'm working. And there's compressors and noise gates and limiters and reverbs and delays and distortion units, and well, I don't know, you name it, it's here. And if you've heard something on your favorite record that you'd like to have on your tape, it's very easy for me to get it. And also there's a full MIDI system over here further to my left with a keyboard and computer, and all these things in this rack are keyboards too, just the brains of them.
Could you, for those who don't know, could you talk about musical interface device? What does it stand for again? Maybe I forget.
Musical.
Even the professional.
I don't know. Digital interface. No, I don't know. I don't remember. I used to know. But anyway, don't put that in the interview. But some people, especially I guess those that are into dance music and whatever, and artists that write music themselves and don't have a band, find the MIDI very useful and to some extent quite realistic sounding, and very much used unrealistic sounding in some dance music.
Do you find is a trend possibly going back where people are going to be like recording live on the floor, where it's more of like musicians playing rather than the machines playing? Do you see that making a resurgence?
Like more bands?
Yeah, just live off the floor, none of this overdubbed stuff. Or do you think it'll always be the way it is right now?
Well, no, I get a lot of live stuff. Maybe some overdubs, but I mean, basically, I encourage the band to play live, and that, you know, it's going to feel a lot better that way. You're going to get a performance, and
because I don't know if you've ever gone out and you've seen a band and you've listened to the records and they sound better live than they do in their recordings. I don't know if you've ever come across that.
Sometimes that way, and sometimes it's the other way around. But you know, a lot of sort of the high energy bands are much better off to record live. And sure, you can redo a vocal after if you want to, or a guitar, but you have to try and capture that energy, and that's not an easy thing to do on tape. So if you know what you're doing, though, you can get it, and that's what I strive for. I think I still got their demo tape here somewhere, which is really probably a collector's item. Stands for nothing. Demo-wise. Great console. When the band has finished recording, it's all their tracks on the multi-track. It's time to mix their tape. So you start by bringing up their drum tracks and making everything sound balanced and good, I hope. And
is that where you usually start with the rhythm section and then work your way?
For mixing, yeah. And of course, sometimes in recording, you record the rhythm section first too. But you need a foundation to start with, and drums is probably a good place to start, and then the bass, and then the rhythm guitars, and then your frills, you know.
Give us a little show there. I realize it's a quick one. But.
Yeah, okay, well, basically, so I just brought the drums up here now, and it's been a while since I've actually mixed this song, so I don't know what the bass tracks sound like. They room mics here, which I used for the drums. And then I'll bring up the bass. The volumes right away are not that important. They're going to change as I bring other things up, but the sound of something is important. And of course the bass stops playing when you want to hear the bass. You can start with a rhythm guitar. And sometimes you find a track you forgot about. This was a band called Heroin Hazel that came in to do a 3-song demo, and
No,
we finished it. Very talented young players, good songwriters, so it was a real pleasure doing this. Nothing there. Some things, of course, they don't play for the whole song, just little parts here and there. That's the song. You sort of go till you know that you really can't make it any better.